Good Monday morning to all of you. This is Sunana Bora, Youth and Family Life Coach from Athena Life Coaching. How are you doing today? So for any of you who are meeting me, joining me for the first time, I am a youth and parent coach. I work largely with preteens, that is children from the ages of 8 and above, preferably 10 and above, and teenagers. I help kids overcoming issues like low self-confidence, communication issues, time management, unable to manage their time, finish their homework, relationship issues with their friends, self-confidence issues, focusing and concentrating in school and at home on the academics, so just helping the child to be holistically on track in terms of achieving their goals, in terms of their self-confidence and positivity towards achieving their goals. And I simultaneously work with parents, helping them to understand what is the best way to be able to communicate to your children so that they listen to you, but also to be able to build long-term relationships with your kids and to be able to create a family life in which your child truly thrives, where your child is happy, where your child feels like he is understood. So that is what I do with in my coaching work with children. So I'm just looking here to check that I am loud and clear. I can hear you, not I can hear you, you can hear me, and okay, so let's get started. Today's question is by a parent who is very concerned about her daughter who is around the age of 10, and she has sent me actually a long email, and I sort of created a synopsis of that. And the question was, how do I make my submissive child become strong and face the world? Because I am worried as a parent that others will take advantage of the sweet nature of my child. How many of you listening to me now or later feel, please put it in the comments below, whether your child is submissive and agrees to what you are saying very quickly or agrees to what their friends are saying very quickly. Your child does not stand up for himself or herself and goes rather with the flow. And sometimes you feel that your child might be getting bullied by others. Your child does not have a say in a group environment. And what this can lead to going forward is, when it comes to teamwork, your child will be the one who will be burdened the most, because your child will not stand up for themselves. And then we become adults like that in a family environment, guess who's doing the most work? The person who's doing the most work, the most organizing, the most everything, is the one who doesn't stand up and say, boss, this is it, this is how much I can do, we will delegate. That happens in families. And guess where else that happens? That happens in corporate environments, in office, at work. You can very easily get bullied by people who are stronger than you, who can stand up for themselves and say, I'm not going to take this stuff. I'm having my hot cup of tea. So, what are the strategies that we need to work with? So what happens in a lot of cases is, a lot of times parents are dealing with the outer issue. They are looking at their child as, and the labels we put as parents is, my child is shy, my child is submissive, my child is an introvert. Please help her to become an extrovert. Please help my child become loud. Please help my child stand up for himself or herself. So what you are doing is, you are focusing on the wrong issue. Whether your child is shy or not, whether your child is an introvert introvert or an extrovert is part of the makeup of her personality and not necessarily help her or him to stand up. I know many introverts, many shy people who will not allow themselves to be walked over because they have one key secret ingredient, and I'll come to that. There is one key secret ingredient that they have, because of which even shy and introverted children, shy and introverted adults cannot be overpowered, cannot be bullied. So there are a couple of points I want to talk about before we talk about the secret ingredient. The first point is, when you have written in saying, please help me, my child is very submissive and I am worried about her because she agrees to everything at home, that people outside the home front will take advantage of her submissive nature. So when you are saying submissive nature, and I've spoken to this client, it has happened because at home the parents shout at the child, or when they're not shouting, they're literally making the child do something against her wish, like finish your homework now, or eat your food, or do this now because we are in a hurry and this needs to be done. And they raise their voice, or they get more aggressive with the child. So what happens is that becomes the child's threshold, that when my parents are going red in their face, now is the time that I can't argue anymore and I have to say yes and agree to whatever they're asking me to do, so that they stop being angry, they stop being aggressive with me. And therefore, your child, I'm sorry to say, has been trained by you to be submissive. Your child has been trained by you to be submissive. Okay? So now you cannot expect her to learn being submissive at home and not using the same strategy outside. So you have to understand, in the home front, you're teaching your child that when I reach this threshold of anger, I expect this kind of behavior, and your child is doing that kind of behavior. And what does she get? She gets parents who calm down. So she realizes, when they reach this peak and when I do this, there is peace and they're happy with me and we carry on. So outside, in the outside world, if her friend gets angry with her, she knows that in order to bring more peace with her friend, or if her teacher gets angry with her, she knows that in order to bring more peace with her teacher, she needs to agree to do something. And when she grows slightly older, God forbid, she could be in a situation where she could be forced to do something against her will. And then she will agree to do it because she has been trained. So be careful. What are the demands you are making of your child? The second thing, like I've already touched upon, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on her behavior, or are you focusing on what she's feeling inside? Because when you talk about your child being shy, your child being submissive, your child being an introvert, what you're seeing is the outer shell of the child, not what is going on inside of her. So it's very, very important for you to understand what is happening inside of your child. What is she feeling? Is she feeling that there is a negative voice inside of her? Is she feeling that she is not confident? Is she feeling that, oh, I am scared? Is she feeling that, oh, I'm responsible for these people being angry with me? Is she feeling that I am not enough and therefore I need to do this for my parents? So what is she feeling that is causing her to behave in a certain manner? So stop focusing on your child's behavior, but focus on what she is feeling inside. And I remember this client who came to me around 4 or 5 years ago, and This client had her daughter, she had I think a toddler, and another, her daughter was 5 or 6 years ago at that time. And one of the prime reasons this client to me came to me was because she lived in an apartment block and there were children on the same floor, and her daughter was the most meek of them, and she would just agree to anything, everything the other girls would say. Even if the girls would snatch her favorite doll from her, her daughter would not say anything and she would be tongue tied. And the mother would actually, and the mother was a very strong personality. And when these parents approached me 4 or 5 years ago, the mother wanted me to coach her daughter. Maybe she wasn't 5, I think she was older, she was 6 or 7. The mother wanted me to coach her daughter to stand up and fight back. And that is when I told the mother that you cannot change the personality, because she kept comparing herself. She has a beauty parlor and she runs a beauty parlor. She's got a team underneath her, and she's obviously standing up running a business, so she has that level of confidence. But she wanted me to coach her daughter to stand up, to fight back, to abuse, and to slap that other child and push the other child and stand up for themselves. But that, honestly, in the long term, is that the values you want to inculcate in your child? And I asked the mother, I said, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the outer shell of your child and trying to change your child who is an introvert and a shy child into one who is an extrovert and someone who's going to shout back? You know, it might work. It'll work in the short term. But your child will revert back to their default personality. You can't change someone. So I am the outgoing, more bubbly, enthusiastic person. But my husband is the quieter, calmer person in the house. Today, if you ask me, Sunana, be calm for the next 1 week. Maybe as an adult, I can be. Yeah? But after 1 week, I will be bubbling to talk and to show my excitement, and that's my energy. That's my makeup. That is my DNA. And you can't expect your children to change their DNA. I mean, it doesn't work. So we have to be realistic about what we're expecting of our children. We can help them to overcome their submissiveness by building their inner power. And what is that secret ingredient? I'm going to come to it. But I want you to understand also that in terms of bullies, your child can be a target to bullies because your child, it's not because she's submissive or shy or an introvert. Bullies do not necessarily target shy, introverted kids. Bullies target kids who lack. Any answers? Who lack? Kids target bullies who lack self-confidence. So it's very, very, very important for you to focus your attention as parents on building that secret ingredient, that inner power in your child. So if you think your child is being submissive, if you think your child is not, hello, how are you, Sabine? So if you think your child is submissive, and you think your child is not standing up when their toy is getting snatched from them, or when in a team, in a group, she or he is burdened with the most things, if you think your child is not able to vocalize what they want, then the training needs to be with me, a life coach, or with you, their parent. And how are you going to do that? First and foremost, stop forcing your children to do something they don't want to do at a particular time because it fits your agenda. And that's what we talk about in my 4-week parent coaching program. You know, it's almost full for the month. If any of you are interested in joining up, now is the best time. You get a free bonus session valued at $250 with me if you sign up in the month of Feb. Stop forcing your kids to do something against their wish, because you are not allowing them to express themselves. So if you have to go somewhere, if you have to do something, give your child some time to get to that point of changing their clothes, putting their shoes, whatever it is, instead of rushing them. Don't try and squeeze your children into your agenda, into what needs to happen for the day for you. That's point number one. Point number two, and I say this to parents all the time, is allow your children to make decisions age appropriate. So not decisions like which school they should go to or whether they should travel by a cab to school, not those kind of decisions. Start practicing small decisions like what would you like to have for lunch? What would you like me to cook? Would you like to have noodles today or rice, or would you like to have a sandwich? So when your child has these three options, we don't want to even bombard, so age appropriate, right? Conversations, if you've older kids, then it's a different conversation. So age appropriate conversation. So what would you like? So when your child is even 5 years old or 6 years old, when you give them these three things to choose from, their brain needs to work up and wire and fire together to make a decision. When a child says, "Oh mama, will you please make noodles for me?" So you know that in the kitchen you have noodles, rice or bread, and that's what you can offer. That's why you will give them only those three options. And then where their brain works to make a choice, that helps them to grow their self-confidence by a notch. When they are standing in front of the cupboard, instead of saying, "Wear your pink dress today," ask them, "What would you like to wear to the party today? Would you like to wear your pink dress, or should we iron your jeans, or would you like to wear this white top?" Whatever it is. So you can, in younger kids, direct their thought pattern, but giving them choices. When you give them choices and they make decisions, they feel good about themselves. The second thing is, we think negotiation is a bad word in parenting. So when I teach children in the 4-week parent coaching program, I teach parents on how to talk to your kids so that your children are not manipulating you. But on the other hand, when we need to build self-confidence in our children, we need to be able to allow them that space, that safe space within the home environment to be able to negotiate. So for example, if your child is slightly older and your child needs to go out with his or her friends, and your child wants to be out till, let's say, 9 o'clock, but you think the appropriate time is 7 o'clock, allow room for discussion. And discussion does not mean crossing boundaries of respect or any such thing. When we are saying room for discussion, allow your child to bring forth what they feel about an incident. Why? Because we're giving the child a safe space to express what they want. So they could say, "Well, my friends are staying back later. We're planning to do a movie followed by dinner, and therefore it's going to end at whatever 9 o'clock." And you could offer, renegotiate and say, "Okay, maybe you can come back and have dinner." And the child says, "No, I want to have dinner with my friends." Okay, then should you then do a dinner at a food court instead of going to a fancy restaurant, so it can be faster? So allow that discussion, not lack of self-respect, not lack of crossing boundaries of respecting each other, but negotiations so that the child is able to express themselves. If your child wants to wear a particular outfit and you think it's not appropriate for wherever you guys are going as a family, maybe allow them to negotiate with you and say, "When I'm going out with my friends, I'd like to wear this, and now that I'm going out with you as a family, I can wear this." So I think it's so important for us as parents to allow that safe space for our child to negotiate and not argue and cross the lines of respect. The third thing is encouraging your children. When we talk about our child being submissive, we need to be sure, are we encouraging our child? Are we throwing light on our child and our child's innate inner skills? Not again outer. So that's why parents get very confused about praise. Praise is when your child comes home with a art piece when they're all of 3 or 4 and it looks like nothing, and you say, oh beautiful, I've never seen something like this. This is so good. You're going to grow up and be an artist. Your children can sense your fakeness. Your children can sense that you're not being genuine. So it's so important for you to, so instead of saying that, you could focus your attention on telling your child that I think it's so good, you made such a good attempt at painting or drawing. Or if your child runs a race and you say, oh, I think you were the fastest and your child came last, it's again making your child feel like they are, hi Abba, how are you? That they are receiving false praise. So it's so important for your children to understand and feel that you are able to see their strengths. So I would instead say, you made a very good attempt at running. You really tried your best. What can you do better next time? If, running is the deal. So when you are encouraging your child, encourage them for their inner strength rather than what they are bringing home or not bringing home in terms of medals. So I always share this example of my daughter who applied to this school, and there was an entrance exam, and she worked with her head down for a straight 4 months, and she'd gone to a tutor, but she was doing work for a good straight 4 months. And on the day of the exam, I went and bought her a MacBook. That's what she wanted, because she thought she would get that if she got through the school. But I didn't want that message. I didn't want her to feel that she was dependent on a school for her success. I wanted her to understand that. So why I went and bought her the MacBook on the day of the exam without the results coming out is I wanted her to remember for the rest of her life that what we as parents saw and appreciated and what we want to encourage within her is the skill of focusing, dedication and persevering through those 4 months to get to that point. This getting through or not is sometimes a little bit of a matter of luck, how you've done the exam at the last moment. So there are a lot of things that come to play and a lot of things out of our control. So the reason we bought her dream gift at that point is because we wanted, so that is a good way to encourage your child, is focusing their attention on their focus, focusing their attention on their hard work, focusing their attention on their perseverance, focusing their attention on their diligence, focusing on their attention on the effort they're making to achieve something in life. Because the result, we also need to be detached from the results. And that's going to be a separate life completely, because I know how invested parents are in results. So that's going to be a separate life, but we can't always control the results. So it's so important to encourage your children towards the right thing. The fourth thing is, when it comes to younger children and even slightly, pre-teens and teenagers, is we need to encourage problem solving techniques within our kids. Because a lot of times, so for example, this submissive child, the mother who's written, suppose somebody does snatch that toy from your submissive child. Suppose in a team, your child is stuck with the maximum workload. Don't jump in and start becoming part of the team. Don't jump in and start scolding the other child. See what your child is doing in that scenario. See how it's playing out and be supportive outside the circle. It's just like, when your child is playing a game of tennis and his coach is guiding him. The coach doesn't jump into the tennis court, grab the racket and start playing with the opponent. The coach is outside the tennis court and guiding your child and saying, next time, hit your backhand, forehand, whatever it is, and aim for that side of the court. So your coach is guiding, and that's my role. And it's great if you can play that role, is guide your children, but don't jump into the court and and start playing with their opponent. Yeah, stay out of it and guide them by saying, okay, so he hit the shot, what is a better way of retaliating? So if your friend has pulled the toy away from you and is running away with the toy, how can you choose to react? My words are very careful here. How, not how can you react, because that means you react. We are all making a choice to react. Just now, if I'm drinking this cup of tea, I can drop this cup of tea on my lap and go, oh my God, and get really abusive. I can start slapping myself and saying, what a fool I am. I can start hitting the table and saying, oh God, I can shout into the phone right now and say, it's because of this life, this. So I have so many reactions and I choose one. So when you're talking to your children, always say to them, teach them that they have a choice. You know, as adults, we forget that we have a choice because we tell our husbands or our kids, I am angry, I'm upset because of you. Well, the fact of the matter is, we are choosing to be upset or angry because of them. This is a lesson even I forget. So, I'm equally guilty. I love doing these lives. I love coaching because I continuously am reminded of the lessons I need to learn the most. So yeah, so coming back to, say to your child, how would you choose to react the next time this happens to you? I'm sure you felt bad that your friend snatched this toy from you. How would you choose to react? Or how would you choose to respond the next time? And you'll be surprised. Some kids even say, oh, I would tell my friend that, you know, if we both sit down together and play with that doll, we're going to have more fun. That's a matured answer. If you're, so this actually happened, this scenario actually happened with my daughter, that she was in a project with two other kids around 2-3 years ago, and she was the most hardworking person, and she got stuck with it. And I was upset about it, and I was like, why do you choose these people? You know, don't choose these people. And next time around, guess what? She chose exactly the same people. So that was not how she chose to respond. She chose how to then learn to delegate better, and she worked fine through that project. So that's even better because she learned a skill, and that skill was learning how to delegate. Yeah, you can decide you don't want to work with someone after working with, but in the office environment, in the college environment, there are many environments where you might not be able to choose the people you're working with. Yeah, so you have to learn to up level yourself and choose the skills that you need to overcome that problem. So number 4, teach your children problem solving skills. Do not jump into the tennis court and start playing with the opponent. And there's a much deeper reason and all of that I go into my 4-week parent coaching program. So if any of you are interested, I deal with this a lot in terms of what are the reasons why as parents we jump into trying to solve the problems of our kids, and where we need to be more emotionally matured. So if you are interested in my 4-week parent coaching program, which has a bonus session now in the month of Feb, there's only a week left. So if you need to sign up, I only have one seat for that. And the last point for today, do not rescue your children. Of course, if they are physically being abused or emotionally abused, it's a different matter. We're not talking about abuse. But like I said, don't jump in and start talking to their friends and rescuing your child and say, oh, don't feel bad, this happened to you. Oh, don't feel bad, that child bullied you. Or don't feel bad that you are stuck with all the work of the team member. Allow your child to go through that experience, because only when they feel those emotions of disappointment or sadness or whatever else they're feeling, then it's only then that they will be able to overcome those emotions. Because only when you feel, so bad example, but it's only when you burn your hand you realize, oh my God, I'm never going to burn my hand again. But you know, there's so many times when we tell our kids, don't do this again. It is our job, yeah. But it's also our job to allow our children to feel disappointment, to feel bad, and don't keep rescuing your child for the simple reason. I'm going to end with this, because the mother who has written in saying, my child is submissive, what is the message you're giving? When you jump in and start scolding the other child or start telling your child, oh, don't feel bad, this is terrible. You are just teaching your child that you don't have the skills to stand up for yourself. And I am here to save you and to rescue you as your mother or as your father. What is the long-term impact of that? What would happen if I went to school and fought with the other kids or with the teacher that this is so unfair that my daughter is stuck with these 2-3 people and she's getting to do all the work? There are many messages. My daughter would think A, she made a bad decision about those girls. B, she's incapable of doing that hard work. So when I didn't rescue my child, but I spoke to her about the choices she was making, I knew those girls and I was like, those are bad choices that you're making and you're working with those people because they're not hardworking kids. And then I realized that it would be more beneficial for my daughter if she learned how to delegate and manage a situation like that, because those skills will then help her for life, going forward in college, going forward in her work life, even family life. Yeah, we don't want to be stuck with the burden of doing everything. So the 5 points: allow your child to make decisions, allow her or him to negotiate, encourage, but true encouragement. 4th thing is teach them problem solving skills, and the 5th thing is do not rescue your child. Allow your child to overcome, to feel the emotions and overcome and learn a new skill. So I hope that was helpful for all of you today. Is this, if you feel your child is submissive and needs to be stronger, don't focus on the personality of your child, focus on how they're feeling. Build those inner skills, because it's those skills that are going to last them a lifetime. For any further questions, just comment below and I'm here to answer you for the next 15-20 minutes. Take care. Bye for now.